Breaking today. King Charles's health is at the centre of why he has been unable to properly handle the Prince Andrew scandal. The mainstream media will not report this. As loyal, outspoken viewers know, I have been prepared to sensitively go there. And I'm going to explain why again. Because, yes, King Charles is an individual who deserves respect, but as the monarch, as the head of state, there is huge significance in terms of the state of his health. And the reality is that there is a growing feeling within the British royal family that King Charles is indeed dying, and that is why power is shifting to Prince William. That is why Charles's appearances are becoming few and far between, and he is looking unwell. And of course, I have so much sympathy for him in regards to this, especially given he was struck by this terminal cancer so soon after taking the throne. Of course, there is almost a Shakespearean tragedy-like storyline to the life of Charles. But at the same time, we do have to be realistic in terms of what this means for the British royal family and the decisions that a King William V is going to make, both in terms of Andrew and in terms of Harry and Meghan. Now, I'm going to give you some context to all of this. I think it's important, and I do want to do it sensitively. First, this is what Lady Colin Campbell revealed here on Outspoken.
The King is not in any position, health-wise, to add to any stress and burdens that he already has. I mean, his cancer is not curable, or is certainly, let me rephrase that, for public consumption. It is not yet cured, and there is no great prognosis that it will ever be cured. So he is having to live with treatment.
Now, what this means, of course, is that the power within the British royal family has shifted towards Prince William. And Tom Sykes of the Royalist Substack, who has been thrust out of the International Royal Rota because of his decision to report on the King's health, does have some stark words about exactly what is going on. He reports readers of the Royalist, unlike those of the craven British newspapers, will be aware of the central fact informing and underpinning this entire story, that King Charles III is dying. Now, Tom Sykes appeared on Substack, and I do want to show you some of this because it's important that you see this in the full context, because he paints a picture of that reality being why Buckingham Palace has not been able to properly cope with the Prince Andrew situation. Watch.
It's a very powerful indication of the chaos which the King's office is in. Partly, as I have repeatedly said, and as you won't read in any of the UK newspapers, this is all about the fact that King Charles is seriously ill and is not expected to live very long. And you can tell that by looking at the photographs, by looking at his schedule, like how quickly and briefly he attends many events, by the fact that he has to go for these very long rest periods. He's in Balmoral at the moment, these very long rest periods before doing any major event. Like, he has to go to the Vatican on Wednesday, and he's going to be the first leader of the Church of England to pray with the head of the Catholic Church. So it's very obvious to anybody watching that the King is really ill. And as I've also said repeatedly, I think he's been amazing. I think he's been incredibly courageous, incredibly brave, all the wonderful adjectives of praise that you could throw at Andrew, the example. And I think it's, anyone who we've all had friends or family who've struggled with cancer, and we know, how inspiring it is when people are amazing about it. But I also fundamentally, it was a massive mistake to announce that he had cancer. It's completely weakened him. The Queen did not tell anyone, did not even tell her own family that she was dying, and she had bone cancer at the end of her life, the last couple of years of her life, which is very, very painful. You know, I was told she couldn't see very much. She certainly couldn't move around. She spent a lot of her time in bed. But she clung to the fiction that she was immortal because she knew how important it was. She knew how destabilizing it would be if she effectively did what Charles has done and pre-announced her own death, because it fires the gun. It fires the gun on the succession. And that is what this is all about.
You just heard how King Charles's health became public almost by accident, and how that changed everything inside the palace. Now, let's talk about what's really going on behind those royal walls, because while the world sees official smiles and short appearances, the truth is, the balance of power inside the British monarchy is shifting. Fast. When Charles revealed he was battling cancer, it was supposed to be a moment of honesty, a modern king being open with his people. But instead, it opened a door the palace never wanted anyone to walk through. Suddenly, questions started pouring in. Who's really running the royal family? Why are decisions about Prince Andrew happening so quickly, yet so inconsistently? And why does it seem like every major move now has Prince William's fingerprints all over it? Inside Buckingham Palace, senior staff reportedly described the king's schedule as fragile. Meetings are shorter. Appearances are limited. Even simple public events now come after long rest periods. So while the king remains the symbolic head, the one actually steering the ship more and more is Prince William. And William, as many close to him say, is not interested in playing soft politics. He's decisive, image-conscious, and focused on protecting what he calls the core of the crown. That means cutting loose anyone who damages the royal brand, even if that person is family. Which brings us right back to Prince Andrew. The story of Andrew is still one of the most damaging scandals in royal history, not just because of what happened, but because of what it represents: privilege, silence, and reputation at all costs. Under Queen Elizabeth, Andrew was quietly sidelined, but never fully stripped of his identity as a prince. Now, with Charles's health uncertain and William's influence growing, that's changing. Sources close to the palace describe the new approach as surgical. Every royal role is being reviewed. Every public association is being weighed. William's mission? To rebuild public trust before it's too late. And Andrew, unfortunately, is seen as the sacrifice. But this isn't just about one man's downfall. It's about the future of the monarchy itself. If King Charles can't perform his duties at full capacity, the public will look to the next in line. And the next generation, William, Kate, and their children, represent not just a family, but the survival strategy of an ancient institution trying to stay relevant. So every speech, every photo, every move from now on will be carefully orchestrated. Because behind the polished royal image, the system is under pressure. And here's something interesting. According to several royal reporters, even simple statements from the palace are now being filtered through a smaller, tighter inner circle. Messages about the king's health, Andrew's future, or Harry and Meghan standing go through layers of approval before they reach the public. It's crisis management mode, 24/7. Because they know, the moment people lose confidence in the king, the entire structure trembles. Now let's be honest. Whatever your opinion of King Charles, it's impossible not to feel sympathy. He waited his entire life for the crown. And then, only months after finally wearing it, he faces a terminal diagnosis. It's tragic. It's Shakespearean. And it's real. He's trying to keep working, signing papers, attending events, reading those famous red boxes every morning, even when he's exhausted. It's the image of a man trying to serve his country until the very end. But behind that dignity, there's fear. Because once people start believing their king is dying, everything changes. Every handshake, every public photo becomes a question mark. Who's really in charge? How long do we have before the next coronation? And that's where William steps in. Not officially, but naturally. He's the face of the future, the steady hand in waiting. And that image, young, modern, stable, is exactly what the monarchy needs right now. So, what happens next? Expect to see less of King Charles in public and more of Prince William leading key moments. Charity visits, state meetings, maybe even international events. Expect headlines to shift from the king's health to the prince's leadership. and expect quiet but powerful changes. Inside the palace, decisions that will shape the next era of the crown, because whether they admit it or not, the British monarchy is already preparing for its next chapter. In the end, this isn't just about a royal family. It's about legacy, mortality, and the impossible task of staying strong when the whole world is watching. King Charles may still be the monarch, but the future already belongs to Prince William. And as this quiet transfer of power unfolds, one truth remains: the crown never stops moving, even when its heart is breaking. If you found this story as eye-opening as I did, don't forget to hit that like button. It really helps this channel reach more people who care about the truth behind the headlines. Make sure you subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next episode. We've got more deep dives coming into the royal world, power shifts, and what's really happening behind palace doors. And I'd love to know what you think. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you believe King Charles is still in control? Or has Prince William quietly taken over already? Thanks for watching and for supporting independent storytelling. I'll see you in the next one. Until then, stay curious and stay outspoken.